Hi folks, it's Danny of Bradley James Classics, and today's classic is of course instantly recognisable as a Land Rover. However, this is a very early Land Rover, a Series 1 from 1954, an 86-inch, which refers to the wheelbase, and it's a basic. Now, great history, and there's a wonderful photograph which is available with this special little truck. Believe it or not, it's covered just under 18,000 miles, and it was ordered by the Ministry of Supply back in 1954. There is a heritage certificate which ties up the dates for this vehicle. It talks about the date of manufacture and then the date of registration, all in 1954. It was actually called a fire tender, and it was supplied to County Kilkenny in Southern Ireland as a fire truck. So I think you can probably guess what its original colour was. Yep, it was bright red, and it is now being restored and repainted in what's called vellum camouflage beige, which I think suits it really well, especially with the new canvas on the back. It is absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. It's been lovingly restored, but it's not been restored to the extent where it's had to have a new chassis and all this stuff, but because it's been kept indoors and kept well, it hasn't required the usual Land Rover complete new galvanized chassis and all this sort of thing, where they lose their originality forever. This has really been just sort of rebuilt to improve its already very good condition. Now, it drives very nicely. If I show you underneath the bonnet now, you'll see just how lovely its original engine is, 2-litre petrol. So it's a matching numbers, the correct chassis number and the correct engine number. Now, this is pretty tricky because the way you have to open this bonnet, it involves me having to somehow push down on this bonnet and open up those little bonnet release tags, like so. You can see where it's actually ready to take a spare tyre. Now, the reason people tend not to put the spare tyre is that on tyres like this, and you'll see it's wearing a new set of the C90 Goodyear tyres, the tyre ends up here somewhere and you kind of struggle to see over them. So unless you really need to have that tyre on the bonnet, they look cool, you're better off having something in the back. Anyway, back to the engine. So let's lift that up and pull this out, and let's have a look under here. So real credit to the previous owner, who's done a lovely job. And as you can see, the engine starts immediately, the first little flick of the key. It runs very, very sweetly, and you can see just how lovely that original engine is in here. Dear little engine, I guess, for a Land Rover, little 4-cylinder engine, but pretty basic, very easy to maintain yourself, and it's nice to see, original parts and not everything else put here in their place. Like a lot of people, you'll see I have a pancake filter here, not the airbox like it should have. Pretty big battery, that's probably why it starts so well. Original dynamo there, and nice to see all of its plates. But yeah, really very sweet. And here we are. Little strap on top here like you should have, and the proper little Series 1 grille, and I think you know what that little slot's for. It looks very purposeful with his little ropes on the front as well. Now, it's been registered with a UK number plate. Unfortunately, you can't take that one off. It's a non-transferable plate, but of course it would have had an old Irish number plate on it because it was registered for Southern Ireland. But no, it still looks very in keeping, having a 3-number and 3-letter number plate. Let's shut that bonnet down. Now I've showed you over here, and just look how great the paint is. I mean, it's a very it's a really suitable colour for it, I've got to tell you. And by the way, you hold the bonnet down by putting these back in place, but just forgive me doing those for a second while I show you around. But yeah, looks great. Obviously all been repainted. These doors look wonderful. It's had new galvanized roof bars. They call these things hockey sticks that go over there. So when it's had this new roof, it's had the opportunity of having all the new framework done, which really does suit it. And the previous owner has explained to me that it had been decked out with all of the firefighting equipment, which would have been a water pump, which probably would have explained this sort of bracket on the back here, and that's a takeoff point. And this is probably where something would have been mounted on the back, and it probably would have been a water pump that perhaps travelled behind the vehicle. So it's great that it's got those little period features on it. But a feature of the early series is they always had this little steel plate in here, and you can see the doors are very basic, and it doesn't actually take much. And if you can just have a look at those rising hinges, can you see those? You just sort of pull upwards and those doors just sort of literally come off. Go and pop those in the garage, undo these wing nuts. You can see they're not difficult to do, and you can probably guess with these large hinges here, the bonnet used to fold forwards like that. And again, it doesn't take a great deal of time to take this canvas roof off, and these hockey sticks don't take much removal, and then you end up with a completely open top Land Rover. So the ultimate fun summer vehicle if you wanted to go that way. I'm going to show you the interior in a second, but I just want to show you just how straight all these original panels are. And you can see the framework all galvanized here. All of this is new and replaced, so it looks really super smart. Original badge all renovated. New light fittings as needed. All new nuts and bolts everywhere. You can see that the exhaust pipe has all been wrapped, and I'm going to get down. And a good thing about these cars that are a long way off the ground, it's quite easy to show you underneath. So if you can have a look here, can you see this is all the original flooring here, just how good and solid that all the chassis is. It's all been painted. If I look backwards here, you can see how sound it all is up under here. Really very special. All down where those spring hangers are. We do have a workshop here with 4 ramps, and putting the vehicle on the ramp is never difficult for us, but I can assure you, having been underneath this vehicle, it is really nicely restored and painted, and it's not the horror story that you often see underneath a Land Rover and their reputation go before them when it comes to a bit of corrosion, but I can assure you this one is really good. Now I am going to show you inside next. The seats have been smartly recovered, and I think this red does suit it really well. All the original frames, you've got the little box under here that lifts up, and you can take that seat up, and there's a box here. Same the other side. That's all in place. If I just get behind the driver's side here. Now, even though a conversion's been done for the indicators here, they actually originally used to work, had a little dip switch here, and I guess these early ones would have been, you probably wouldn't have had the indicators working in the normal way like they are here, so it's been converted to have that, so it makes it a little bit more conventional. And having that little dip light there and the horn press in the middle. Look at that, super low mileage, 17,138 miles. There's a starter button here, and this explains your gear ratios and diff lock. And look how good condition that steering knob is as well. And it's so nice to see. And the early Series 1s, you have these handles, so I call that direct air conditioning. You open that up and then the air is going to follow that. Great that these little Lucas have their own individual little switches for turning the wipers on. Well, to be fair, that continued through into the Series 2 had those as well, but it's great to see those motors. That sort of split screen, I guess, of the way the Series 1 worked. It just looks really crisp. Some rubber matting that goes over the steel floor, looking great. A little fire extinguisher, never a bad idea. Those door handles, see those little seats, and they fit here, look really smart. It's actually had a couple of benches put in the back, which is a very practical thing to do in the back of a little short wheelbase Land Rover. Got a fuel tank which fits in a frame, which is not a bad thing to have sat in the back with you. And because of this canvas and frame is new, it all looks very crisp. It's got this rubber flooring, which is very practical to have in the back of one of these, so that's looking great as well. And yeah, it really is in superb condition. Now here we have ignition light up. You can hear that pump going, and make sure she's not in gear, and then just press, and that's that little engine coming to life. I've got a choke under there which I'll turn off, and she starts effortlessly. So let's just switch that off. I just saw the key there, I couldn't resist it. Now, I mentioned to you that we have this certificate and information about this being used as a fire truck over in Kilkenny, where it's spent the majority of its many years, and back home to where she started in the UK, and then that renovation for this vellum beige camouflage colour. So we've got a little sticker on here which talks about Burma. I don't know if you've been that far away, but it kind of suits it, doesn't it? So a wonderful 1954 Series 1 Land Rover, and it was actually, yeah, fire engine red. It was the colour. Built in March and then dispatched in March, ordered by the Ministry of Supply, and the Heritage Trust has that information. We have the logbook here. We've got some fairly limited paperwork with it, to be fair, but there is a bit. This passed its MOT very recently. It's MOT through to 2026, and it went through the MOT very easily. It just needed some adjustment to the brakes, which are starting to bind a little. They've been done, wheels have been off, and that's all been checked over. Drives ever so well, very easy to drive. A pleasure to have her around. So if you fancy buying into the earliest of the Land Rovers, we know that the last of them have now gone out of production, and actually some of those are going for king's ransoms, those very late Land Rovers. I think you'd be buying into a bit of British motoring history. This one's very interesting, incredibly low mileage, so really hasn't been worn out, barely run in after all these years. 1954. So we're talking about a 70-year-old vehicle here, 71 years old in fact, but in absolutely beautiful condition. It would look wonderful in any collection, or heavens forbid, it could be your daily driver. Land Rovers always get the thumbs up. Where we are based here out in the sticks, we do see a lot of Land Rovers, but I can't say there's many Series 1s that we see trundling around. But to see an early Land Rover in this condition running around is a bit special. We get the thumbs up with our classic cars, but people really do love this one since it's been in. So yeah, it would grace any collection. It would also be great for regular use. Very practical. There's no tow bar on it, but as you can imagine, they do make a great little towing vehicle. It's a practical vehicle. It can have a few different looks, as I say. It doesn't take much to peel that roof back and you can run around with no roof on at all. You can pop the doors off, you can fold the screen down, and yeah, you can make these look very different very quickly. So this car will come to you fully checked over. We carry out a very thorough PDI when we release all our cars. We can deliver these cars anywhere in the UK. We can look at your existing classic car preferably, or motorcycle, commercial vehicle, or even a modern car. Now, we don't tend to resell the modern cars. They will go to a local car dealer contact that we have here in North Hampshire. But if there is the opportunity to take in a part exchange vehicle, we will try our level best, and then we can offer a service where we deliver you your new classic and we take away your old modern car, if you could look at it like that. We are open 5.5 days a week down here in North Hampshire, so we'd love to show you around this vehicle. We can take it for a drive. It's very quiet and easy to find a road to go and road test this on. It's actually very responsive. It drives especially well, and it's been put back together very nicely. The fact it's on these new Goodyear tyres makes a bit of difference. I hate to think 18,000 miles and how old those tyres may have been that were previously on it, but someone's done a very nice job. So even though I haven't been able to get completely under the car, but as I'm this side, let me show you this side of it. There's the fuel tank just there, but you can see everything has been wax oiled and covered and looked after, and it is in exceptionally good condition. Look at those springs on the back. They look pretty heavy duty actually. I guess if that was carrying a big pump on the back and maybe water, then it'd need to be able to handle that. But you can see how lovingly this car's been restored, and it's available from Bradley James Classics today. Well folks, a sub 18,000 mile Series 1 Land Rover that's 71 years old, in stock today. We'd be delighted to show you the car and then help with your transport needs. We can deliver it anywhere in the UK, and as I mentioned, we do offer a part exchange service. We do have our own workshops here in Hampshire where we check all the cars out before they leave us, so the car will be arriving with you in very fine fettle. There's no reason that you couldn't come and drive this car away. They're not the first thing in comfort, but certainly these early Land Rovers will get there eventually, but not very quickly probably. This one is very special, and if you'd like to ask any questions or arrange to come and see it, please get in touch through our usual channels. And thank you very much for watching today's video. It's Danny at Bradley James Classics signing out.